Tolerators, this is To All the Men I've Tolerated Before with me, Natalie Katona. And it's the show where my guest and I chat about not only the patriarchy, but how movies and TV also set us up for a wild ride when it comes to dating. Today's guest is my new friend, Elizabeth. If you remember, friend of the pod, Caitlin Grant from Plug It Up, she was gracious enough to connect us, and Elizabeth is going to help me dive into why 90s male protagonists are the reason I don't love myself enough to overlook a bad boy with a cocky attitude.
It's bad, y'all.
It's bad.
It's not good.
And that's what it comes down to. I don't love myself enough to ignore your leather jacket.
Well, but also, if you did love yourself enough, that wouldn't be a cute look that any floppy haired boy in the 90s would have been into. So you would have been doing it all wrong.
You had to just stand in the corner and shuffle.
Disappear and be really like, I don't even know myself. Like, what am I looking for? And then a guy's just going to materialize like a genie out of a bottle and be like, hey, bitch, you want me in this stick? Come over here. I'll tell you about it.
Come here.
I will tell you about it.
I'll
Joey
tell you.
Potter. I'm talking to you.
I will tell you exactly what your personality is because I literally just would like to look into a mirror of myself.
That's exactly right. I need you to shine really brightly directly on me, like nowhere else. It needs to be like to fuel my entire like life force.
Yes. And I need you clapping for me the entire way, but also weeping.
But I'm going to be a whiny bitch that you don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole, like Dawson cry face all day.
All day.
Right. So enjoy that, ladies of the 90s.
I cannot wait for this episode because it's all so true. And then I got to also be like in the early 2000s where 10 years later, not only did you have to stand in the corner, but your glasses had to magically fall off your face and a wind had to come through your hair. And you were like, I think
so that everybody knew
hot.
You were pretty. So that everybody was like, wait a minute, she's a woman. Like, there are boobs over here.
Has Amanda been good looking the entire time?
Okay, so that's hilarious because I also have like footnotes about a specific and very special type of movie that the 90s just love to crank out, where it's like men getting popular, getting rich, etc. They get something out of humiliating or debasing or making a fucking bet out of women. So that's like this whole thing that like, man, it's problematic. Like, it's definitely not okay. And I have a daughter now and like lovingly revisit some of this shit that I'm just like, I would literally sit down and watch Nightmare on Elm Street with her before I would let her watch 10 Things I Hate About You. Like,
no.
Or The Little Mermaid. Let's be real. Let's just call it what it fucking is. Like the other day she was like, and what did Ariel do? And I was like, Ariel gave up her voice to go meet a boy she didn't even know.
Right.
Does that sound like a good deal to you? And she goes, Mama, it doesn't. And I was like, that's right, girl.
And then he
is kind of dumb.
Right. Number one, I don't know if Eric has 10 lines in the whole movie.
He does not. The dog has more personality.
He pivots to the first lady.
Oh, yeah.
Who's wearing just a tinier, skimpier dress. And
literally is just wearing less clothing. Yeah. Like, oh wait.
Ariel, have you just been my homeless friend for the last week?
Holy shit, that's amazing. That is amazing.
That I collected from the beach.
Oh my God, that's so, you're just my seashell. Like,
right.
We're not cool anymore. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But rest in peace, Heath Ledger, because that soundtrack still gets me.
Listen, I want to blanket disclaimer. I am going to be treading on some, what I myself consider pretty like sacred ground. Like these are and continue to be some of my absolute favorite comfort watches. I won't like just sit and co-sign it to let my daughter ever watch this stuff because it's like dated doesn't even like, it's so problematic. They're like anti-fairy tales. Like I don't even know, like they're like anti-cautionary tales. It's like bizarre to watch now with the perspective that time brings, but I still love them. Like it's like everything else in cancel culture that like you can't like cut it out of your life. Like so forgive me to all the entertainment gods, because I mean Dawson's crazy. Like we're talking about like my entire adolescence. So I'm here for it in a lot of ways. I'm glad we're doing better. And I want anybody who's influenced by this swath of entertainment to just really hold a mirror up to it and understand exactly what they were consuming in such volumes, because I truly do believe that it in many ways shaped the type of guy I was looking for and
100%.
found. Let me tell you, I found him. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I still watch these movies too. I am a person who would actively buy a ticket to the musical version of Cruel Intentions. And during COVID Easter, when my father called me to be like, "Are you going to stream church?" And I was like, "No." Stupid question. I was like, I don't, this holiday isn't for my people. And then and I said, I will be watching Heathers because I love Christian Slater. Like, exactly. I will be spending my holiday in my happiest place watching Christian Slater be awful.
I mean, that's a pretty good island to live on. That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
But go into your more in-depth theory about these 90s bad boys.
Right. So,
and how they hurt us.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy research and did really well in college once I was paying for it myself. But my thesis, I was just going to pull up the email we had going earlier, is that male protagonists of specifically the 90s and on into the aughts ruined dating for a large portion of us ladies of a certain age. By the way, I'm 37, just so listeners know.
33.
Due to the social landscape of the time, any showrunner looking to increase drama amongst their characters chose to emotionally manipulate their female leads into second guessing their own feelings and instincts, gaslighting them, and generally mansplaining their extreme lady emotions to them by way of their male counterparts. This often would leave the females in a position where they then ended up like almost acting as like a publicist for these assholes. Like they would go on this apology tour of like, let's say Felicity, right? Like Noel was an asshole to everybody that she tried to have over for dinner. The next episode or in the same episode, the back half is going to be that girl running around to like 19 different people being like, it's just that like he's going through a really rough time and like his dad and I don't fucking care. Like that was, it's the Mr. Big is an asshole to Carrie's friend thing.
Yes.
Like it's not okay. You're not more important. Your time's not more important. What space you take up is not more important. You don't get to just explode like a volcano and then fucking disappear. That's called emotional abuse. So this happened at an alarming rate, I feel, in 90s entertainment, specifically geared towards women. I found myself some narcissists and some real bad motherfuckers, not just like Shawn Hunter and Leather Jacket bad, like abusive piece of shit people kind of bad. Yeah. And I am only joking a little when I blame both being raised by wolves. Sorry, Mom. Like as a generation, we were just raised by maniacal monsters who had no concept of like mental health or safety or boundaries. In that same way, we were handed this example of a man that is so piss fucking poor and pathetic. Like, it is no wonder we are all miserable, divorced, like anxiety ridden recluses. Like, I mean, it's tragic.
I need everyone to know that the only reason I pivoted to being sexually attracted to Shawn Hunter is because Mr. Turner left the TV show.
Well, that's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah. And that they know, I feel like they know what they're doing with that. Like it's gotta be, the character has to fit certain tropes and like, you're going to always have this dichotomy of like the Dawson and Pacey where one is supposed to represent, I guess, the better of two assholes. I don't know. Yeah. Like just,
I think one is always like the epitome of what it's supposed to be. Like Dawson was like blonde and he was smart and he was deep and And he
And
was
then he like got into photography. So
yeah.
that was,
Oh, that's right. He had an art
Mhm.
farm. And then Pacey was just his jackass friend, like the jackass friend that was along for the ride.
He was the Shawn Hunter.
He was the Shawn Hunter. And with Corey, it was Corey came from a great family and
Yep.
he had a brother and a sister.
They're white in the right ways, these
Right.
leading guys.
Right.
And they have their friend that they weren't brave enough to make them like Hispanic, let's say.
No.
But they, you know what I mean? Like it was like, let's make them a beautiful white person who is from the wrong side of the tracks or
and a
whose
broken
parents
home.
are divorced. And and so we're going to make them alienate them in some way to where the viewer understands the coding and their trope is well defined. And neither of these are going to be good options, but ladies, have at it. Like, but this is what you've got.
At least one still has a dad in the picture.
Well, yeah, that's right, girl.
So, and then just the emotion when I was trying to tell someone, I was like, I don't rewatch things. And the sole purpose that I don't rewatch things is because number one, there's too much content out there and I have FOMO. And I used to joke that my greatest fear in life was to die before I read all of the books that were available to me. So I can't reread.
I understand that.
I cannot reread. I cannot rewatch. So I get to live in this bubble.
Where something just exists and then goes away.
Right. Where everything that I've ever watched served its purpose and I loved it. And I cried when Mr. Feeney said, class dismissed for the last time. And I sobbed like a baby when he died on Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will be sad when that man dies. And I never have to go in very deeply to the Shawn Hunters of the world. And I am very attracted to the Shawn Hunters of the world.
I have to interject and tell you that I have a sensory memory. This is like so real, grounded in my brain of driving back from Florida vacation in the backseat of my parents' van. And, you're like looking out the window and it's raining and like, you can kind of see your reflection and some Amy Grant songs on and you're like, I'm in a music video. And then like, oh, is that just me? I don't know. So then I fully am like, that fake making out with yourself thing, right? Where you're just like, let's just see what it would be like if somebody were just like super romantically hugging me. I did that in the backseat and like was like, how long can I hold this pose? Because I'm in my mind fully like hallucination level imagining that Shawn Hunter is my boyfriend and somehow we're coming back from a trip to Florida and someone's driving us home and he's just like cuddling me in the backseat.
Oh, I used to do that all the time as a kid, as an ugly high schooler and an uglier.
There's no such thing as a pretty high schooler. Let me just tell you, yes.
I would just like wedge myself into the corner of the couch and be like, look, I'm being held.
Yes. This is what I'm talking about.
I'm being held by Heath Ledger.
If only there'd been weighted blankets in the day. I would have been like, I got a boyfriend. I'm busy.
Exactly. Bye. And then, actual women, bolder women, they used to like just masturbate with pillows or something, like hump body pillows.
I did.
And be like,
that was
Shawn Hunter. Yeah. I didn't think of that.
I did do that. I fully like once I got there. So this was like first base with myself, I guess, this hug thing in the seat, in the back seat. But like, 100%. Like it was on. It was like, I had a roster. I had like every cast member of Legends of the Fall was in there. Like, in fact, I got a poster, a Legends of the Fall poster, the one with Brad Pitt's hair like blowing in the wind from Spencer's, I believe. And because I'd seen it in a movie, tried to put it on my ceiling, and my dad came in while me and my friend were trying to put it on my ceiling and was like, you're not putting that on your ceiling. And I was like, that's where it goes. Having no idea that anybody put it on their ceiling to masturbate to.
Yeah. Where it goes.
Which is exactly what I would have done. But.
Well, I put my Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings poster above my bed.
Oh, that's good. Because then you can, then you can just swing around. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'd sit on the other side and be like, hello, stranger. And every once in a while, because the sticky tack wasn't great, it would fall on top of me. And I was like,
that's just all the better.
This is beautiful. But I am so attracted to the fucking Shawn Hunters of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, are you wounded?
Are you a musician?
Are you a musician? Do you have a jacket?
Are you emotionally unavailable in a way that I'm going to read as dramatic, but really is just.
Is your family dynamic just like a little bit more publicly frowned upon than the way that my family made me feel like shit about myself?
Right.
Like,
yes. Are we just mismatched enough that like we'll create a whole new generation of like even more emotionally unstable people?
I pined for my Shawn Hunter. Fuck, he's gonna be like, did you talk about me again? I pined for my Shawn Hunter for 6 years. Motorcycle.
Oh wow.
Jackets.
Yeah.
And a dicey relationship with his mom. My dad hated him.
Yes, like it's just checking out all the boxes.
My mom like she still checks in about this ex. She's like, so what's he like? What do you think he's still single? I'm like, no.
Oh, like she's like trying to like,
yeah, because I think she also has a thing for Shawn Hunters. I was like, Shawn Hunter can't come back into this house. He cannot. Somewhere.
I can't tell you how many times my mom's met. This is how I would know if I was dating a Shawn Hunter. If I was introducing a boy to my family. Because like I'm from like it's a thriving metropolis, Memphis. It's very much unlike the rest of Tennessee in a lot of ways. There was a scene when I was growing up, like the spectrum was probably narrow, like where I was, like it's like a hipster or homeless type of thing. Like there was a very fine line between like, is it a real Shawn Hunter, or is this person, did he go to Christian Brothers High School and like he's just fronting like this is just like whatever
to the thrift store.
Like, so my mom had my mom had this like completely foolproof detector for this. Like if I was ever around a guy where I'm like so attracted to him and like, is this person just like a piece of shit? Like my mom always at some point would be like, you know what? I see it. I get it. It's, you know what I mean? Like it'd be like, and I'd be like, oh fuck, like this one too. Okay.
I mean,
because it's genetic. Like it's like we get it from somewhere. Like, and I mean, God love all the mothers. I am one of them that one day will be dissected on podcast or whatever. But like legit, like it's a thing that's been given to us, genetically encoded in us and handed to us socially. And I think it's impacted a lot of people.
My Shawn Hunter's ringtone on my phone, when you could finally pirate music and put it as the ringtone on your phone.
Yeah, yes.
It was Riding Dirty because I wanted to be riding him dirty, and he had the motorcycle.
Oh my God.
And
that's hilarious.
And he was older than us, and he had a job. He had a job before us.
Yes, always.
And he had hurt all of my friends before me, so I was like, I'm in line. And then when you fuck your Shawn Hunter, the mystique kind of goes away, and you're all like, 6 years of my life
just gone.
And now I'm gone.
I'm gonna have to swivel into pivot. I was trying to say pivot and swivel at the same time. Calling my Shawn Hunters Pacey Witter because it's so much more accurate. Like Dawson's Creek was a thing in my life from the moment it was a thing in the universe. And I mean, I know there are others out there that are like, yes, like they're understanding the gravity something like a stupid teen soap can have on your life when you're that age. Cause like my friends and I got together and would watch it. Like I got the DVDs and rewatched it. I had it on like recorded on VHS at the time, before I could just like go get the DVDs. It was a thing. And I am definitely like a comfort rewatcher and have ingested this so frequently in my life. Like I'll just go through periods. Like there was a time where every time I went through a breakup, my mom and I would rewatch the entire series of Dawson's Creek. Like I would just like move back in with my parents and be like, here's the tissues, you know what to do. And it'd be like, I don't want to wait. Like just all day.
Yeah.
Right? But like it forms pathways in your brain. Like it really does. Like, so these guys, these just like fuck ups that I was just like, I want this dirty love. Like I want this, like this is what passion is, right?
I want it to be
Messy.
tricky. I want it to
Tricky is so
be
good. Yes.
volatile.
Yes. I want it. It's got to hurt or it's not working kind
I
of
want it to be
mentality.
all encompassing one day and be where all of my adrenaline is coming from. And then the next day, I just want it to wipe me to the floor.
If it doesn't ruin you, you're not doing it right. Like I truly, like, if it was not that level of like soul destroying, then I'd be like, I'm bored.
If no one screams at me that I'm just not understanding them and where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Is it even passion?
Right. I'm watching, like, it's on in the background. I was watching Dawson's Creek, just kind of put it on shuffle, so to speak, earlier. And I wrote this down. Like, it was like, this is just so perfect. A thing you hear all the guys say to Joey Potter on the show frequently, but in this episode, it was Dawson, is, what are you doing to me? How can you do this to me? Which I truly think about that statement. Like, because it used to just be like, am I just watching a show where people love each other? Of course someone's saying that. But to put that onus on another person, like, you are removing yourself from emotional responsibility in such a way that you are saying to the person you're speaking to, whatever it is you just did, whatever decision you just made, whatever agency you just flexed, affected me in such a way that I now feel it is appropriate to scream at you and say, how dare you?
Right. Or cry.
Or do something that instills guilt in you in some various way. Like,
I remember Corey doing this to Topanga when he said something stupid, like, you've ruined this.
I remember that girl. I remember that episode.
Like, I believe she kissed a guy.
She did something with another. It's always just, yeah.
She kissed a guy at a ski resort.
Oh yeah.
And
let's not pretend we don't remember this as
they're on the fucking jungle gym.
Uh-huh.
And she's trying to do the right thing. And she's trying to be like, I don't know, I'm 16 and a half years old and I fucking messed up.
I'm not an adult.
I don't know. I moved away from my parents when we were 14 so we could continue this.
Right. Like, there's been extreme circumstances under which I've dated you, high school boy.
And she tells him, meanwhile, he's completely had amnesia about the little ski bunny that he also had a thing for.
I'm blanking on the actress's name, but yes. That's exactly. I remember at the time I was like, this is raging bullshit.
Right. And
like,
we hated her.
What is up? I was so pissed. Like, I just can't.
And then Topanga takes the fall.
She sure does.
Because she kissed. She brought a physical element to it. And because Corey just had an emotional affair for the week.
Right. That's exactly right.
He gets to be like, you ruined.
And this happens on Felicity. This happens on Saved by the Bell. This happens on all of it.
On all of it. And their entire face structure changes. They look like a demon from hell. They're crying or they're yelling. And you're watching. Not that I even remember like watching the women in it because you're so drawn to the spectacle.
Well, yeah.
But now you're just like watching Topanga and she doesn't even know how she got here.
Right. You totally recognize this look in her eye of like, what have I done? And like, how and why? Joey Potter, I was just watching her do the same thing. They're brilliant actresses, apparently, but also like displaying the nuance of reality in a way that like feels too close to home at some point now. Like,
I love Cruel Intentions.
Same.
The horribly toxic movie that I love to hate watch.
Same.
And I love when Reese Witherspoon finally figures it all fucking out. And Sebastian still turns it all on her and goes, yes, this is too important for you to care about this.
Yeah.
We're too important in my lie.
It is like gaslighting the sequel. Like, it is. Oh boy. Yeah. It's And then
I was like, I mean, take out the whole like I was supposed to fuck you so I could fuck my stepsister.
Right,
Like,
right.
take all of it out of it. Like, I played with you. You found out about the game, but now I've decided that I like you and I
Okay.
care about you.
This is
And
the formula.
and
So the
I'm
episode
so
I
sorry
just
that's not
watched,
enough for
the
you.
episode I just watched of Dawson's Creek was one where they have this like anti-prom because Jack can't bring his boyfriend to their prom.
Yes.
And it's at, I can't remember, whatever. It does not even matter. Dawson gets Joey, totally emotionally manipulates her like the entire episode to accept his invitation to this prom under the pretense of like them being friends and like rebuilding the relationship after whatever horrendous like tragedy had just happened. And so she's like, okay. And he's like, remember we made a pact when we were 12. So I guess that was a blood oath with Satan. I don't know, but bitch got to do it. Like, she's like, okay. And so meanwhile, everybody else is like, are we going to screw tonight? And she's like, I guess I have to go with Dawson. Oh, I'm going to wear his mom's diamond earrings too. Cool. And then they get there. She really wants to do with Pacey. Like, I am now in Nexium. Wow, fun. So they're at the prom, this like anti-prom, and Dawson gets so mad at her, and because she's like, I'm so glad, I really didn't know if things were going to work out. I'm just so thankful that you're cool with being friends. And he goes, I'm not cool with being friends. Wait a minute. You believed what I told you to get here? Like, you thought that I really didn't have designs on you, and like, how stupid are you? I can't believe you didn't know that I really have feelings for you and wanted to get you here because I'm in love with you and don't want you to be with Pacey. Like, and how dare you not understand my lies to you? Right. This is passion. You should be with me.
Right. I lied to you instead of buying you a corsage.
Right. Deal with it, internalize it. It's just what men do.
And then I showed my ownership over you by giving you my mom's earrings. Is his
for the night. It's so awkward because he I'm like, on loan? This isn't the fucking Emmys. Like,
right. Because my mom loves you and you should love me like my mom loves me. That is
exactly what that is. My mom wanted you to wear these. Like, look, my family has co-signed my decision to
gaslight you.
Gaslight you into a full relationship with me that you one day will refer to as us being beyond lovers, which means nothing.
I once had a man in my life who could not drive, and he lulled me into his house. I might have told this story before. He lulled me to his house to promising me a date. We were dating, and he's like, let's hang out today. And I thought I was going to get laid, so I went. Mm-hmm. And as you do. And I get there, and he's like, I have to go to the grocery store. Can you drive me? Because I'm your caretaker.
Girl, I got the same story, but I took a dude to the foot doctor one time. I'm not even kidding.
And it's like, you only have 4 other male roommates who all have vehicles, but sure, I'll take you. Like,
it's like they enjoy the challenge of like, just, yeah.
So we go to the grocery store. I hate the grocery store, by the way.
It's not fun.
I hate the grocery store, by the way. And the reason why I got rid of this motherfucker and went back to my original Shawn Hunter is because that Shawn Hunter told me that anytime that he would always go to the grocery store. And
if I had, it's like your car will always have gas. Like, there are certain things, if somebody was like this, I'd be like, all right.
And if I ever had to go to the grocery store when we would toxically talk about being married, even though we were not dating, that I would get flowers. So nice. I go to the grocery store. I hate the grocery store. I get home and I'm like, cool. So like, what are we doing for like our date and our hangout? And he's like, what do you mean we just hung out?
Oh no.
Friend. And I was like, we ran an errand. He's like, were you not with me? And then was my time with you not worth it? Did you not enjoy your time with me?
And then all of a sudden you're the fucking bad guy. And you're like, I'm the fucking
sorry. I can't drive. So I needed you to drive. And that's the deal. Because this was also
asked me to take you to the grocery store.
Right. Also that. And I was like, so we're not doing anything right now? Like, I'm not coming inside anything. He's like, I'm watching the basketball game with my bros. Okay. I was like, I have to watch a game with my bros. Okay. We hung out already.
Okay. Like, did you know that you could be getting your DS right now?
Right. I was like, well, okay, but we could have done that one thing you like. But I guess watch basketball with all your roommates who aren't getting laid. Like,
Yeah.
but me. And then it's like, you don't understand. This is because he was never going to be able to drive. So it's like, this is something that I'm going to need forever. And you have to be up for that. Like, I'm sorry, why is everything a challenge for what I am
Yes.
up for in a
Right.
trick?
And it's all like, I got you figured out. Like this, and this. What do you think
Yeah.
about that? And you're like, can I tell you? Like, do I have to tell you right now? Is this like for the rest of forever?
Mhm.
Like, okay.
And I feel like these shows really made my future partners really good at keeping score.
Oh, 100%.
And I would be in between men in some sort of tug of war contest, and I wasn't dating them. I was not getting free dinners. I wasn't getting asked to the dances.
Well, that's the whole game is like
Mhm.
they end up making you work for nothing,
Mhm.
like by moving goalposts. And it's these very like insidious tactics that keep you busy and tired
Yeah.
and unfulfilled in a way that's like hard to pin down. But like it's like the like straw man argument. Like you can't ever like point to any one thing that's like what they're doing. It's all this fucking slippery snake of just like, that's what you always say. And I mean, you just get like this and I can't even talk to you right now. Like, I'm so tired of somebody just acting like I'm crazy and leaving the room.
Yeah.
To be like, I don't want to do this.
I'm tired of being insecure men's security blanket, which is what I am usually am. Like I will just find myself in these friendships with insecure men, or I used to, where especially in high school, where it's like, let's say it's a minkus because he's not
Right.
Shawn Hunter. Shawn Hunter's cool. And he doesn't have his shit together like Corey.
Right.
So he's a minkus. He's not even one of the main fucking characters of
Right.
my story. And then there's another Shawn Hunter, who's witty, an actor, like big gregarious personality in my high school, and they're best friends. And each one of them is always vying for my fucking attention and until there's a dance or whatever. Because I've already rejected Minkus and Shawn Hunter has options. And I just remember like being at a school dance and there's high school Shawn Hunter and he's dancing with his girlfriend that he hates and that we constantly talk shit about. And she and now you're pinning me against some other woman, much like Jen and Joey.
Yes.
I was like, and now I hate this girl. I don't even know why.
Totally.
And
I've been in that situation before.
Yeah.
That is wild.
And then they get in a fight at the dance and he just turns to me and he's like, it's great that you're always here. You want to dance?
Okay.
Well, I'm so glad I came to this dance fucking by myself for the one slow dance to Lone Star's Amazed at the end of the night.
Oh my gosh.
And the fuckery of it all is I was amazed by him. So when we sang that song together, I meant it from my whole heart.
I mean, I've had a lot of encounters with a lot of not awesome people. I've also tolerated some men that are totally fine, upstanding citizens. My current partner is amazing. And like, I know how lucky I am in that department, but you know what? Fuck that. Actually, it's not like, I know how lucky I am. It's hard fucking work. It's hard work. And yeah.
I'm tired of justifying my dissatisfaction. Did I say that right? I can never say that word.
Dissatisfaction. Now I'm guessing.
Yeah. Now we can. I swear I read a lot. I cannot say words out loud. Whatever.
Satisfaction.
Not being satisfied with men and having to justify it with, but one time, one of you did make me orgasm, and that was nice.
Right. Totally. Like 100%. Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
These things are unrelated, right? Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. You were nice to me. You bought me dinner and you made me come.
Thanks for that.
You even tried to make me come first, but that didn't work out. So
you didn't leave when I took a vibrator out. Like,
you threw me a towel. So that was lovely.
y'all, we got to be thankful for what we have.
Right. One time I was grateful for a man for not shaming me for being on my period and still having sex with me.
Right? Okay, this is a hot topic of mine. I once was told to I have to tell the whole story. This has never been said on a podcast before, but I'm doing it. I was just relaxing in a bath. Yes, I was on my period, and not bothering anybody, not asking for any conversations with anybody that may or may not be in the house at the time. And I was reading and just cool, vibing by myself. Mm-hmm. And I hear what sounds like 14 elephants and Tony Soprano coming down the hall. And I know it's my fucking toxic ex that's like upset about Cry Me a River fucking whatever. Like, I don't even know. It does not even matter. Nothing, I'm sure. Comes, like, storms in and says to me, first of all, shut your legs. That is disgusting. Second of all, you absolutely are going to the gym today. That's what the fight was. It's all coming back to me. Yeah. So this was during time when it was not safe to go places, and I was being encouraged to go places, but only certain places like church and the gym. So anyway, I've never in my life, like, it's like someone shot me out of a fucking cannon. It's some like on a genetic level of just being a fucking woman. I can only now like equate it with like, it's how I would react if somebody were to threaten my daughter, my child. Like, I was so out of that tub so quick, and like physically pushing him out of the, like, you get the fuck out. Like, I can't say it loud enough. I can't say it as many times as I need to. Like, I will not be in your presence right now, because I've never in my life been so disgusted and offended by somebody's remark or behavior. Like,
he's the
that
reason
somebody felt like, it's still now when I reflect on this, like, that someone felt comfortable enough to say something like that to me is the problem.
Yes.
Like,
and I equate it to, and this is going to hurt my heart, because every time I see this man, it brings me joy. I love you, Paul Rudd. But your character in Clueless was bullshit.
Same.
Because what he would do is make Cher feel stupid.
Dumb, yes.
And then
it was all negging, and then like
negging, and you're dumb. Can you even read?
Yeah.
And then finally at the end of the movie, he's like, you might have a brain after all, Scarecrow.
I've decided
that you're brilliant.
You pass. Come here, girl. Come here, boo.
And then they fall in love, even though they're weird ex-step siblings or something.
No one asks a question. Everything's good.
And I don't know how many times I have just allowed myself to be told something about myself, whether it's I'm not kind enough to take into account that you need rides and I should fulfill that whenever you need it. Or, I mean, one time I was told, I've said this on the podcast, but one time I was told maybe it would be kinder for me to fake more orgasms so a man felt more confident. Or that
do you want me to just sign your paycheck to, like, right. I can't.
And it's that for me. It's you get to say whatever the fuck you want to me. I am supposed to just believe that my period is disgusting, that I'm crazy. I'm a stupid person. I just had this meltdown in therapy. I kept telling my therapist that I was very, very happy. Things were going well with the podcast. I was very, very proud of myself. And she asked me, why did I look so fucking sad then? Valid question.
I've had this moment in therapy where I'm like, don't look at me, listen to me. Right. Stop it.
Well, on Friday, I was proud of myself. And
right. It's true sometimes. It's like a kid that's like, I took a bath last week.
So then I had to tell her, I go, what pisses me off is we are women who were raised by women who were raised by women who couldn't own credit cards until they were well into their adulthood, and then men made it seem like a favor or progress. I go, and those women were raised by women who couldn't vote. And it took
men
88 some years. I cried when I did the math.
It hurts. And I don't think people understand that. Talk about my ex, my most toxic ex that I'm referencing is one of them, that like 100% hate loud women. Like, it's like this, like, be thankful for what you have. All these liberal loud women on Twitter. Oh my God, this like opinion and this person, like, I was being whittled away into this just little shred of a person that like I didn't even recognize anymore. And it did all fucking start with like Saved by the Bell, the middle school years. Sorry. Like,
and at the end of the day, I have chills right now. I must be feeling my power. At the end of the day, it's traumatic for us too. It is traumatic to be carrying those wounds of our grandmothers, of our mothers, of our great grandmothers. Our mothers lived in a time where you couldn't even say out loud that you were assaulted or that you didn't enjoy what a man was doing to you or whatever without being shamed, ridiculed. It still happens today.
I mean, our grandmothers lived in a world where rape was not even a thing.
Right. Our grandmother and our great grandmothers couldn't even file for divorce, let alone think about it. And
I mean, I've been divorced twice. I don't know what the fuck I would do that. Like, I would just be like,
divorce is the only reason I would get married, because there's a release hatch. If it goes to shit.
Only reason, let me be honest with you, it's the only reason anybody gets married. And I have a lot of tattoos. I know about permanence and like decision making, and I can tell you some stories, but like, yeah, I mean,
and we haven't, and I told her, I go, we haven't been trained to run. And that's what I want to do for women. Or trust ourselves. I go, I want to tell women at all times, as soon as it fucking gets weird, as soon as it's uncomfortable, as soon as it,
because here's why,
fucking Natalie, run.
Here's why we don't, is because immediately we think about what it will appear like if we do. What will other people think of me? And
I've been asked,
you know how many times it's been, what will my parents think of me if I dump another guy and like they don't ever see this guy again? It's to me, it became a thing where it's like, I've got too many jobs I don't want to put on my resume. Dating became the same thing where I was like, I don't want to keep messing up. Why the fuck was I framing it like that? Where did I get that from? I got it from somewhere. That was a memo handed to me that if I was not marrying these men that I was fucking or dating, I was messing up. So I mean, one day I was a baby and the next day I'm thinking this shit, it came from somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, and then they take it a step further and they weaponize our own emotions against us.
Everything, our sexuality, our emotions, anything that could be, and that is something that we should cherish and be proud of, gets villainized and weaponized in this way where we end up hating ourselves.
Yeah.
This just happened on Dawson's Creek. I watched the perfect episode for us to like be talking about this. Joey is saying to the two men who are like, I want her. I'm not a trophy. You guys, nobody's worth all this. Our friend group's being shredded. No person is worth all this pain, least of all me. That is what she says. Because you have to be so fucking selfless. You can't even imagine one person wants you, let alone two enough to make waves about this thing. Like, you weren't cute. It wasn't a good look, girl. If you weren't like, I'm disgusting and reprehensible. And why do you even want to look at me?
And
like, I thought it was a pickup line to tell dudes I was a cutter.
Oh God.
Right? Like, it was like this 90s heroin chic, the more damaged, the more beautiful. Like, if you like, it's so messed up, the messages we were given and how we then were just kind of released into society like feral animals. Like,
and it's like, am I supposed to be broken today? Are you supposed to be broken today? Which one of us is cracked? Which one of us is the glue?
Yes.
And
I knew you were supposed to fit, like somebody's got to be fixing each other. It can't be bringing two equals to the table and mutual respect and hard work and communication and vulnerability. The tenets and like cornerstones of actual healthy relationships and communication. It is just this mess of fucking wet spaghetti noodles of insecurity and dishonesty and, you know, mistrust and completely like projecting one's own insecurities and family hurts and just everything onto this other person and this other relationship. Oh, and that's cool that it's a 14-year-old girl because she seems up for the task. And like, that's definitely like her pay grade. Like this is all shit she can control.
You remember when Corey and Topanga were married?
I was going to say married when they were 17 or something.
19, their sophomore year of college.
Which also happens on One Tree Hill. They just have to get married when they're 16. Like I don't.
And then Topanga hates the married people
at
dorms because they are like literally ran down. And it's like, so now we're shaming people for fucking and being together. And then Corey paints their entire fucking dorm apartment yellow and she hates it. And then he has a meltdown. Well, I was trying to fix it. Well, no one, it's manic.
No, right. That's not your job.
Like,
not your job.
And he's manic with like a squeegee just on the wall.
Yes. Nail on head. That.
Or I have to trust my abuser to be the person who finds me on the bed, popping pills, screaming that I'm so excited.
Right.
And then trust him to fix it.
Oh yeah. That they love that too. That like the broken woman, like grab me. Like that is the closest we've gotten to a man Rhett Butler style hysterically like get a hold of yourself, woman. And like, I mean, that is ripped from like some fucking ancient script that like it should look very strange to us through modern lenses.
And at the end of the day, it always falls on us. We should have emotionally handled the situation.
Well, that's the wrap up. That's the last line in the speech, the monologue that the girl is giving on the show. It's the CW, it's Wednesday night, you're watching whatever. What she says to wrap it all up in a pretty bow is, I guess I should have XYZ. And, you know, next time I'll blah, blah, blah. And it's just this reward and punishment system of conditioning behavior that they're totally responding to in a way that is instructing a generation of people to hand themselves to others and be like, I don't know, you fix it. And then you tell me like what I can do to maintain that hard work you've done.
And we're seeing it play out to the point where I'm devastated for people that I too used to make fun of, but with Kanye and Kim.
Same.
Where it's like the whole world is telling her, well, you should have known better to let Kanye near you. And he's going through a medical crisis and she was just supposed to foresee it. And she's got kids on the line. She's being verbally harassed. She's all but being stalked and everyone's being like, well, Kim, you should have never made that sex tape in the 90s.
Right. Didn't you know,
Kim, that when you fucked that one guy whose name we don't even remember, was it like Ray J?
Ray J. Yeah. Look at us both remembering.
That when you fucked him on camera and people got to watch it, that meant that you deserved to be abused by Kanye
you
West.
Then get no credit. Like your life is literally the public domain. Like that will never be okay. I don't care who you are or what sins you've committed against media. Like it's not okay.
It's not okay. I'm tired of making fun of women for being human just like me and getting swindled by a man.
Amen. I want to do a TED talk on like, don't I look normal?
Yeah.
Doesn't everything seem above board? Couldn't you talk to me at a cocktail party and be like, well, she was nice and probably has shit together? Like it can happen to you. It can happen to you. Like long cons can happen. I was long conned, like the details of which would blow your mind. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio should start a movie about my ex. It's amazing. And it's not even like somebody that you would think would be capable of making such leaps and gestures, and it can happen to anyone.
Yeah. And it happens. And it happens in small or big scales to all of us. And I'm tired of ending every relationship with the lie, I should have known better. I should have
Right.
seen that coming.
No, I read somewhere, and this was one of the things I held on to, like, seriously, for a long time before I left this relationship, this incredibly toxic relationship. I read somewhere that emotional abuse, or abuse that like leave no bruises, any type of abuse that's not just like decking you like across the face, like old school style, like just straight up Ike and Tina Turner. There was that it was insidious because you couldn't find in a journal or a day planner, this was the day it happened. Mm-hmm. It's that death by 1,000 cuts. Mm-hmm. It's raising the temperature to boil a frog slowly. Like, it's just that, like, you can't say when it started or when it increased or when it changed, because it's designed that way.
Right.
That's how it works.
During my therapy meltdown, while I'm just screaming into the void about how the way that all of the women who came before me were traumatized has led me on a path to be repeatedly traumatized. And I just don't know how the generational curse ends.
Ever breaks. Yeah.
And my therapist is just trying to convince me. She's like,
well, girl, it's by us going and talking about it every day.
And she's just repeating over and over, but don't you know it wasn't your fault? I need you to say that it wasn't your fault. You don't get to own the fact that you were abused. Like, that's not on your heart to own. And she's just like walking me through it. I'm crying. I'm like, oh, I guess it's not my fault. And she goes, and it doesn't make you smaller or dumber or weaker to say, I have been abused and I have been abused repeatedly. And now I am taking steps to make sure that it ends with me. Mm-hmm. And you watch these shows and you want to root for Chad Michael Murray because him and Brooke have great chemistry and they have a lot of fun together and they laugh. But at the end of the day, he's going to toss her aside because she's a little too fun and she's a little too sexy and she's a little too assured in herself.
Yeah, she was too confident.
She's not getting any type of solid love story until the reboot and the last season.
Right. Yeah.
And he's going to go right to Peyton.
Girl, Jen Lindley fucking died. That whore's gone.
Nowhere.
That little slut. She got the big KO. Like, it was out of I mean, that was the ultimate, like, when we were rewatching it, me and Eric, I knew, it's coming. And I'm like, oh God, yes, that was so awkward. And like, what? But like, knowing that and like rewatching the whole thing just in kind of one adult sitting.
Yeah.
You see this like dump on Jen thing that like just keeps happening where it's like, dumb slut. Like, she's just like trash. Like, around. Like, whatever. In my dad's bed. Like, she knows her narrative and she fucking wields it. Like, it's this like what was given to her, she now uses as armor. She's a whole nother like conversation that's also atrocious the way they paint this character. But like, you see yourself in this if you've ever been the friend that someone's mom has been like, well, I don't know about that Elizabeth, does she ever know us Pierce? Like, that's like just that like immediate assigning of like the bad one or the whatever. But then you also are kind of striving for that, like you want some credibility in that way as an adolescent. I think everybody does. But she dies. Like, everyone else gets like some kind of happy ending. Fucking Dawson gets a meeting with Spielberg, but Jen dies. She gets cancer and dies? Mark.
And Dawson's probably going to turn it into the sequel to his shitty
Samantha
movie.
And Sex and hold on. I'm literally like, why'd she get cancer?
Samantha got cancer, but she's still very much alive. She's just not a part of it.
But why are these sexually independent women just getting cancer left and right? Like, I have questions.
I don't have answers.
Concerns for sure.
But and it's the same with Jesse on Saved by the Bell.
Mhm.
She was smart. She was confident. She
They
was going
make
to
them they make them on purpose, these like very fierce, independent women, which then it makes no sense for them to be slapped with like the fucking AC Slater. Like,
right.
yeah.
And then you see them just hanging around, and well, he's just going to walk right over to the sad one who videotapes herself all day long for strangers and who has a dead mom and who runs red lights because she either wants to also die like her mom or kill someone like her mom had to die. We're not sure.
It's nebulous.
And you're just watching, and it's like, who's rooting for the loud girls? Because I was a Brooke Davis stan every day of that show.
Same. But that, like, it's that if you take up too much space, there's not enough room for like the men to be as big as they need to.
Or as big as they need to feel.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's what our job is to accommodate that, whether it's there or not, like to reinforce this, whether it's earned or unearned, like sense of entitlement and confidence. And it's a shit show, dude. It's bullshit. And it is something that I refuse to co-sign for my daughter in even the slightest way. Even the most Disneyfied, like innocuous seeming. And I've never saw myself as being any kind of like tiger mom about it, especially about like entertainment or like I'm a pop culture junkie. Like I want it all to be accessible. But I straight up am like, you are not a Disney princess.
No.
You're Moana, maybe. We can talk. You can be a Madrigal. Like we can talk past a certain point, but hell no. You're not going to sleep for 10 years while some dude looks for you to kiss you. You're not gonna marry a fucking beast because he won't let you out of his castle, and you're not giving up your singing voice and speaking voice for legs to go meet a boy you don't know. Like this should all sound very strange to anybody responsible for raising other people. Like,
as a woman who is no longer being your security blanket, I find it so hard to go on first dates because I am countlessly told, wow, you're a lot of fun and you got a lot of things going on, but I just don't think I can handle it.
Oh my. That's fun.
Yeah. And number one, I didn't ask to be handled.
No.
Number two, I'm not giving up anything. So. And number three, you're fucking boring. I go on so many.
Do I get to say
dates.
Anything? Do I get feedback as well? Like, where's my exit interview? Because this is not.
Do you have a survey? Because you're fucking boring. and it's exhausting. It's exhausting to finally get to the point where I feel like I'm Brooke Davis and everyone still wants a Peyton. And I'm like, I never wanted to be Peyton and I never wanted to be Lindsay.
I feel that energy so hard. But like, it's like that. You were just talking on the show about I don't know, with time where we're even at right now, but just a theme I think frequently is that wanting to be seen today, like wanting to be recognized for who you are currently, not seen as whatever version of yourself this person is most comfortable identifying with, or that they had the easiest time manipulating or control, whatever. Like those are all so true. Those I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
And especially after the whole world flipped, like, I don't think anybody's the same as they used to be. No. And it just, to me, has been like dumping your purse out and going through what's in it and just throwing away shit. Like that doesn't, like, if this does not serve me anymore, I have no patience for it.
Yeah.
And it's extending to my comfort rewatches of like fucking Dawson's Creek. So like something's happened, like hell has frozen over. I don't know. I'm like examining shit that like, probably was not created to be examined at such depths, but like it is what it is. And it reflects the society that made it. So
yeah. And I just am tired of being upset at everything.
Whatever we are is valid. And it's not another person's to decipher. We're not some riddle on a wall, like hieroglyphics. It's like these people who just keep coming back, like angry they can't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a whole person. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I'm not an event that you get to like come to when you're in the mood. I am no longer going to feel bad for being,
No.
period.
No.
Or being on my period, you fucking asshole.
You fucking
So
asshole. The reason we have the podcast.
just saying.
All right. Now we got to do our two traditions. We have to do a big growth moment, whatever the hell we're throwing away or learning from our past media shows. Obsessions. That's the word I was looking for. I know words. And then we have to manifest how it's going to get better. So, what has been your biggest growth moment or takeaway as you look into these asshats?
It's been fabulous to exist. If there is a silver lining to the past few years, it is that I don't think anybody can get away without taking a hard look at themselves, their values, their lives, their friendships, whether they're like writing a blog about it, doing a podcast about it or not, it's happening. And it's led to just this sort of like mass reevaluation of what it means to be a friend, a significant other. I don't feel like we are as put off as a society anymore by people voicing opinions that are, I don't know, less than pleasant. Like I think that hard things are easier for us to collectively look at and hold. And one of those is that women have been utilized in media and entertainment as plot devices to stir up drama, that there has been this like very pawn like ability to just sort of move them all around the board. It's always whatever this male is projecting onto them. To be able to recognize that, I think, is a moment of empowerment. To be in a time and place in our own lives and in history where we're able to point to something and say, there was a problem there, that is to me a moment of collective growth that I'm proud of everyone for. And we need to keep doing more of that and moving forward in the right direction.
I think my biggest takeaway as I take an evening to think about all the ways that TV has failed me, even though it is my favorite pastime,
Same.
is I'm so glad to be on the other side of it, to be the person who, instead of thinking about what does Chad Michael Murray want, what does Shawn Hunter want, how am I going to stop running after Shawn Hunters and find my Corey? Mm-hmm. I want to be the person who allows the Brooke Davises to shine and be bold and be loud
and have their own fucking show and not be Dawson's Creek.
And I want to be the person who helps the Topangas of the world realize if it's fucking weird, if it's fucking angry, if it doesn't make you feel good, fucking run and run fast. And you don't have to run forever.
And you don't have to tell anybody why you're doing it.
Right. But to allow women to have the space to take a moment out of the hurricane and to just think about, well, is this what I wanted when I planned out what I wanted? Because I think that's where I see a lot of people who I respect just not allowing themselves the peace or the hour of time or the brief thought. And I have often said that if it was for one misstep or one saying no to an opportunity, I would be washing dishes right now, looking at the corner of my ceiling, trying to see if it was physically or financially possible to be divorced. And I would just like to be a leader of the Brooke Davises, the Topangas, the Jessie Spanos, Kelly Kapowskis of the world to go, you're the fucking main character of the show. And you deserve to be the main character of the show. And you should deserve to tell everyone else to fuck off.
Yeah. You don't have to look pretty while you're doing it. Like,
no. Even Jen. I would have rooted for Jen. Jen walked so Brooke Davis could fly.
Right. That's so true though. Like, I mean, and Brooke is by far the best character on that show. Like everyone knows that. Yeah.
Always. What is your manifestation for the collective energy?
So my manifestation here, I just want any and all ladies affected by the male protagonist of the 90s and beyond to very frequently remind themselves what it is they're putting in their eyeballs and looking at, that this is not okay, that this is something that was drawn up for us, honestly, by the patriarchy, whether it was intended as, something harmful or not. And it's not reality as it should. This is not, drama does not equate to passion. Abuse does not equate to drama, does not equate to passion. Passion in a healthy relationship is fueled by ongoing emotional communication with one's partner and by sharing personal vulnerability with them. That is not something that any man or anyone should be able to perform a monologue about their own hurt, trauma, pains, lacks, desires, wants, needs to coerce you into feeling differently about. Like, that is, your agency is yours. And I don't care what the world looks like through your TV tube. Like, that is, and I know that sounds silly, but like we watch it all day. We literally like just put it in our bodies. Like, it is something that we are informing our lives by, that people are, learning to speak English by watching. Like, this is in the fabric of our society. Like, I just want everyone to be careful when presenting, younger audiences with, like, it scares me that there are just these like teenagers like devouring Friends. Like, that's a whole nother episode, but like, that needs to be done cautiously and with lots of disclaimers. Like, just be aware of what it is you're ingesting. And I'm all for like pop culture junkie all day, like whatever fandom you are in, like, I love it, do it. And I that's where I get my kicks. Like, I love being a part of these communities, and will not stop watching Dawson's Creek. I'm watching it right now. I'll keep watching it all night, I'm sure. But we have to do so as informed, responsible consumers in a way that we're not just prolonging the effect of these just incredibly twisted ideas of what healthy relationships and communication looks like.
I'm going to address the Shawn Hunters for my manifestation.
I love it.
Because I already talked about the Brooke Davises. If you're sitting next to a Shawn Hunter, or maybe you're a Shawn Hunter who's listening, when you rewatch these shows, I hope that you start looking at the women and watch how they're affected and kind of get a clue as to what their body cues look like.
Watch them shrinking into themselves as this person is taking every bit of oxygen out of the room.
Hear their voices wobble, hear them start to demean themselves, and then take it a step further and ask yourself, is that how unsafe I make the women around me feel? And is
That's
it really
such a good way to put it? Because I've been told I'm sure you've experienced this as well. When I've told past abusers how unsafe they make me feel, I have been told that I am hysterical, ridiculous, such a drama queen, so whatever. Like, and that fit the script, dude. That squared with everything I had seen to this point,
And so once you watch it from an outsider looking in, start paying attention to the women in your lives, what their body language is telling you, what their eyes are telling you. Why are they crying? Why did they seem so bold and sassy one moment, and then the next moment they're telling you, well, I'm not important, and who am I to be screaming about? Pay attention to that. And I don't even have an example except for my dudes from Critical Role, my D&D stream.
You've made me want to watch this. I'm on the verge of being like, all right, fine. Like, what is this? I'm intrigued.
Be the Liam O'Briens. Talk to us like we are poetry. Treat us like we are art. And then be the Allisons of the world and the Matthew Mercers. And after you're done appreciating us because we're art, treat us like we're fucking equals, because that's what we are. and give us the respect that we deserve when we come to you with problems, when we come to you with strong feelings. Don't be a Shawn Hunter. Be a nice guy off of Critical Role. Be a Robbie Diamond.
There you go. I don't even know these folks. I'm going to co-sign it. Don't be a Pacey, you guys.
When they
don't
break
be a
my
Ben.
heart,
don't be a Noel.
When the Critical Role guys break my heart, it will devastate me.
I was going to say, I hope no one gets canceled.
Right.
I'd like followed the starting with you and just y'all be good.
When they break my heart, it's going to go hard. It's going to go hard.
Don't do it.
Elizabeth, this has been wonderful.
It has been just the best.
I loved it. And I want you to tell all of my listeners where they can find you.
Well, you can find me in cyberspace many ways. I am finalgirlscout at gmail.com. I love pen pals. I like talking about horror movies in particular, but all of pop culture. You can frequently find me on my girl Caitlin Grant's awesome podcast, Plug It Up. And that's at Plug It Up Pod on socials. I just wrapped a session with the BGH crew, the Bloody Good Horror guys, on the new Scream films. So Scream 5, that'll be dropping soon. I'm out. I'm around. I'm an amateur professional podcast guest. So if that's what you're looking for, and you don't mind that it's a spooky mom person that's closer to 40 than not, then holler at a girl.
Holler at your girl.
Come on.
Tolerators, you know where to find me. It's Men I've Tolerated Pod on Instagram. That has the link tree to my Instagram, my TikTok, and most importantly, our live stream on Fireside. Woo-hoo. So you can start interacting with us and asking us questions, or screaming into the void with us about why Dawson from Dawson's Creek sucks. We would love it. And remember, tolerators, you don't have to smile through anything you're tolerating, including a blonde boy who's making an ugly cry face as he screams at you that you ruined his prom, and he doesn't care that he tricked you. Smiles are for joy.